Hello, loves. I'm Leona deVinne, and this is Finding Your Joy Spot. This is a space for real conversations and insights about what it means to live and lead with authenticity and not apology. Each week, we explore the courage to be who you are and how joy aligns with that, even in the middle of the messy and beautiful process of showing up as your whole self. Because joy isn't just a destination, it's the evidence that we're living in alignment with our truth, the truth of who we are. So wherever you are today, take a breath, settle in, and let's begin the work of finding your joy spot together. A few weeks ago, I got a little distracted, embarrassingly enough, and I found myself having to pull over on the side of a country road with a flat tire. I thought, no problem. I can handle this. I know how to change a tire. And honestly, I did. I loosened the bolts, which barely came loose. I jacked up the car, couldn't get the tire off, kicked it a few times, got it off, and feeling proud of myself for figuring it out. That's my default mode. When something goes wrong, tighten your jaw, power through, and get it done. But when I lowered the jack, after somebody stopping only to comment on what a good job I was doing, I saw that the spare tire was also flat, and I knew I was in trouble. This was one of those moments I couldn't muscle through. So I drove 8 kilometers at 30 kilometers an hour and had to try to get some help at a local fire station that ended up being closed. I literally ended up running after a stranger's van that had been parked, and they were driving away, waving my arms. And then that's how I met Bob, a kind man with a small air compressor and a big heart. He pumped up my tire, made sure I was safe, and drove away. 10 minutes of his time and a reminder I'll never forget. I was driving that day to go on a retreat. It was the last of 6 retreats that I had planned in the year, a time to contemplate, feel nurtured, integrate, and set out some seeds of intention for what I wanted the next while to be. And somewhere between the setback on the side of the road with my knees engraveled, I realized the retreat had already started. It wasn't happening in the peaceful way that I had imagined, writing in my journal, drinking coffee all day. But it happened on the side of a country road where I had to slow down long enough to see how, number one, easily I get distracted, how tightly I hold everything together, how I rarely ask for help. And sometimes the lessons is what looks like an interruption is actually the invitation. And the invite is to see the gift that comes with the challenges. We often imagine growth as something we plan for, maybe like what my retreat entailed, a course, a conference, but more often it happens in the detours, the potholes, the flat tires, the thing we don't schedule or choose. That day, it was a gift, and it came as disguised as a flat tire, and it was a reminder that life's disruptions are rarely accidents, they're opportunities. The flat tire forced me to stop, to reflect, to admit I could not keep pushing through everything alone. I do not have the capacity to blow up a tire on my own. And asking for help is part of the work. Here's the truth I keep learning again and again. I am fiercely independent. I pride myself on being capable, resourceful, strong, and I think everything is figure-outable. And all of that serves me until it doesn't. There are moments in leadership and in life and in motherhood, partnership, when independence becomes isolation. That day I didn't want to ask for help because I didn't want to inconvenience anyone. I didn't look or want to look like I couldn't handle it. But the moment I did, the moment I asked, help arrived. Bob didn't see me on the roadside. He heard someone needed help. He was the neighbor of the person driving the van and came anyway. That's how community happens. That's how connection happens. And maybe that's the real invitation, is not for me to always do more, muscle through, but allow support in. And the other piece is that Bob reminded me that showing up doesn't have to be complicated. I will never forget Bob. He didn't give me a pep talk or a 3-step plan for self-actualization, although maybe I would be open for that. He just showed up with what he had and did what he could. He had something I needed, just like all of you have something that somebody else needs and benefits from. That's leadership in its simplest, most human form. Noticing, caring, acting. We can all do that. We can all be a Bob in our families, our workplaces, and our communities. And it might look like mentoring someone who's struggling, sending a quick message of encouragement, letting somebody know that you see them, or stepping in quietly when someone's plate is too full. The flip side of this is we also have to call in our Bobs to say, hey, I could use a hand before things get desperate. Something I do not do well. That's not weakness, that's wisdom. So as you go about your week, I'd love for you to consider, where are you still trying to muscle through something alone? And who could you be a Bob for? Someone who needs a bit of help, a bit of encouragement, even a small act of care. The world doesn't need us to be perfect. It needs us to be willing to show up, willing to ask, willing to help. That's where we find joy, and that's how we find our joy spots, right in the middle of the mess, through connection, compassion, and thank you. Thank you for spending this time with me. If this story resonated, share it with someone who might need it. Or maybe they need a reminder to slow down. I might have to share it with myself, ask for help. Or a reminder that it's okay to need others sometimes. You can find the full story and reflection prompts at my blog on leonadevinne.com, or you can sign up for my newsletter where you get even more research-backed tools that will help you find your joy spot so you can live and lead with authenticity and not apology. Until next time, keep listening for what brings you joy and follow it back home to you.